This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
This is Optimal Work Daily, the best email frequency advice you need to hear, by Matt Wolfe of evergreenprofits.com. One of the many highly debated topics within the marketing industry is email frequency. So how often should you realistically email your list of subscribers if you're interested in making money while avoiding coming off as spammy? There are a ton of marketers out there that will try to tell you not to mail your list too often. Some people will tell you to balance it between 75% content and 25% pitch, or some other random variation. The truth is, no one is going to be able to accurately tell you what's going to work with your audience, niche, and industry. Your voice is different, your writing style is different, what you have to offer is different, and there are a ton of other variables that make one-size-fits-all advice for email pretty irrelevant. However, we've managed to collect advice from some of the most talented, well-respected, and consistently successful email marketers. We also have a ton of data on what's worked for us in our business. So while there are no one-size-fits-all answers, there's just a lot of data on what's worked well for a lot of different people in a lot of different industries. We'll lay out that info, and you can pick and choose things to test for yourself. Growing your list and email frequency mistakes to avoid. When I asked this question to one of my mentors, Travis Sago, his response was, only mail on days that you want to make money. For us, that's every day, but your business could be different. I also had the opportunity to chat with Ben Settle, creator of the Email Players newsletter. His response to the question was, well, I think everybody as a general rule should be emailing daily unless you just hate writing emails and it's painful for you and you're going to write. In short, he went on to say that if you mail daily, you'll make more money off your list than if you mail less often. As marketers, we spend a lot of time and money creating things to offer in order to grow our list. We spend time and money driving traffic and building that list. We pay monthly fees to have a company store that email list for us. But then we don't seem to want to actually mail that list. We think that people will get annoyed by us or that they don't want to hear from us, which is why we understand the concern around email frequency and where the fine line is drawn between desired communication and being overbearing. From our own tests, we've found that to be the furthest thing from the truth. In fact, when we go a couple of weeks between mailing our lists, we find that people complain or unsubscribe or mark us as spam or whatever. It's because they forget who we are and if they signed up for our list in the first place. However, when we're consistently mailing daily, we never seem to get complaints. The people who don't want to hear from us filter themselves out pretty quickly, and we're left with just the people who enjoy receiving our emails. All of this has been a long explanation to say that if you don't know how often to mail, start emailing every day. At the very least, test every weekday. I think you'll find that people that don't want to hear from you will unsubscribe pretty quickly, and you'll be left with a more engaged and more responsive list. Your opinions on email frequency are losing you money. Here's how to fix that. We've spent a lot of time in discussing list building strategies, and while there are plenty more we can discuss on the topic, it's fairly pointless to focus on list building if you're not going to bother to market to your list. In fact, I'd like to share a little transcript and analogy from Travis Sago that will really drive this point home when it comes to email frequency. Matt, when it comes to actual list building, you brought up a concept that I thought was really interesting, the bucket concept. Do you want to speak to that for just a second? Travis, quote, yeah, absolutely. I have a mastermind. I do business consulting and coaching. A lot of times, what people think is the problem is that they don't have enough traffic. They need to be able to build a list. Very often, I'll work with somebody for 6 months or more before we ever buy any new traffic. But I call it working on the bucket. The traffic is the water, but it makes no sense to go run after more and more water to put in a bucket that has lots of holes in it. End quote. Typically, what we do in the first 3 to 6 months is we just plug holes in the bucket. They are holes that typically they don't see, they didn't realize, or a different shift in perspective. But by the time we're done, they're making so much. Their perspective then switches to, I didn't know there was this much money locked up in my list, in my database, in my Facebook. I just had no idea. Then it becomes a no-brainer to go out because it's almost like you can't go wrong now. You can go to all these different water sources, and as long as your bucket is holding water, almost all of the traffic works. That's the big breakthrough. For example, one of my clients couldn't afford any of the advertising when we started, but now he can go out and buy a $3,000 or $4,000 solo ad and make his money back, or at least break even, in the first 3 or 4 days after the email is sent. It's the bucket and water thing that I really try to point out to folks. Matt. It's kind of like once you've got that bucket and those holes plugged, that's when you know your numbers. You know, I can put $1 in and get $1.25 out kind of thing. Once you know those numbers, it doesn't matter how much traffic you put into it, it's going to work for you. Travis. Quote, yeah, and I really take it to the extreme, Matt. I call it infinite ROI, which you never really hit a point of infinite ROI. But what I've done in a lot of my businesses, like it almost doesn't matter what the traffic costs, because there's so many ways to monetize not only in just product sales, but in referrals and taking your email list. And now you've got a power to, if you put up a YouTube video, to send all those people to that. Get your YouTube video a higher ranking, or your Facebook page a lot of likes, or your podcast a lot of views, or your Amazon book. I was talking to somebody that helps publishers launch #1 selling books. She said right now the landscape is changing in the publishing world. If you have an email list and you have an audience of people that will like and follow you, that's a big help to get an old traditional publisher to publish you. End quote. We hit that point where it's called infinite ROI in all these different facets that people don't realize they have with the power of their audience, not only in making money in sales, but in all kinds of other ways. It just comes to this point where, yeah, you want to do a little bit of optimization or what have you, but it's a no-brainer to go out and do that stuff. So the whole point that Travis was trying to make there, just to paraphrase, is that a lot of people are focused on trying to drive a ton of traffic to build a list. But if the marketing isn't in place and their email frequency doesn't make sense, you're spending a lot of time and money to build an asset that will probably fail when you need it. You just listened to the post titled The Best Email Frequency Advice You Need to Hear by Matt Wolfe of evergreenprofits.com.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. We're all marveled at how quickly kids learn and that sense of wonderment they have while doing it. But as adults, sometimes we lose that curiosity. Well, if there's something you've been wanting to learn, know that therapy can help you reconnect with your sense of wonder, because your back-to-school era can come at any age. And make no mistake, therapy is for everyone. Whether or not you've been through significant trauma, therapy can be a great tool for setting boundaries, learning new skills, and ultimately becoming the best version of yourself. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/workdaily today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/workdaily. When it comes to hiring, don't go searching for the one. Just meet your match with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging. 93% of employers agree. Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites. And one of the things I really love about Indeed is that it filters out those incompatible applicants. So when you're hiring, the process is much faster and you only have to consider applicants that are already likely to be a great fit. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/startup. So just go to Indeed.com/startup right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/startup. Terms and conditions apply. And thank you to Matt and also Joe. They both make up Evergreen Profits. As for Matt, he's been doing digital marketing since 2005, full-time since 2009, and started his first podcast over 10 years ago. Today, he focuses on educating, consulting, speaking, and helping others find success through the medium of podcasting,
and also helps fellow online entrepreneurs drive more traffic to their offers, leveraging paid traffic and SEO. And he also has books on WordPress, traffic, and more. And to hear his podcast, search for the Hustle and Flowchart podcast wherever you listen. He's a great guy and a friend of the show, so definitely check out his work. All of it can be found at evergreenprofits.com. But I think that does it for me today. Have a happy Thursday. Thanks as always for being a subscriber. And I will see you right back here tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.